Mary and Jane have a lot in common. Both are young women in their last year of study at the same law school. Each grew up in a two-parent family in a middle-class neighborhood. Yet in some crucial ways, they could hardly be more different. To Mary, the law is like a martial art, a way to defeat opponents by mastering many complex maneuvers. She chose law as a career because she wanted to make a lot of money, and with that aim in mind, she's mainly studied the more lucrative legal specialties such as corporate law and litigation. To achieve her career goals, Mary has made a point of skillfully ingratiating herself to certain influential professors. By applying just the right amount of flattery, she hopes to make the connection she needs for a good position after completing her degree. Jane's approach to the law is much more idealistic. She views the law as a means of achieving justice, and her goals in studying law are to help people and to make a difference. She's trying to decide whether to work in the criminal justice system as a prosecutor or public defender, or to work for a not-for-profit organization. Jane has had some contact with her professors, chiefly when she's asked them to explain some of the finer points of the law. She tries to be pleasant and polite with her professors, but she would be uncomfortable trying to curry favor with them. Mary and Jane are both single, but both plan to marry someday. For Mary, any prospective husband must hold some prestigious position in society. For Jane, these considerations of money and status don't really matter. She's much more concerned with finding a man she can love. As with Mary and Jane, Bill and Dave are similar in some ways. They're both middle-aged men and both own small automobile repair shops in towns just an hour's drive apart. But again, in some ways, they're opposites of each other. Bill and Dave have entirely different outlooks on how to run a business. Bill's motto could be summed up as, "Let the buyer beware." When customers come to his shop, he'll often recommend repairs that aren't really necessary, and he'll often save money by substituting lower-quality parts for those that are intended for a given vehicle. Often, if Bill judges that a customer will take the deal, he offers to do the work for cash, so that no receipts are kept and no taxes are paid. Dave, by contrast, never deceives his customers or the tax authorities. He recommends only the repairs that are really required, which often means that his customers have less repair work done than they thought they would need. The parts he uses are always stated on the invoice to the customer. Every transaction is recorded for tax purposes. Both Bill and Dave are active in their local communities, but here again their styles are a study in contrasts. Bill was recently elected president of his town's minor sports association, and since assuming office he's been quite impressed with his own importance. He's very generous to himself in claiming expenses associated with his duties, and he likes to have his name on many plaques and newspaper articles. Dave, on the other hand, has done a lot of volunteer work for his local sports association, but he often pays out of his own pocket, and he certainly doesn't look for special recognition. Finally, Bill and Dave differ in their married lives. Over the years, Bill has carried on a series of affairs. From his perspective, a virile and successful man such as himself is entitled to some extramarital excitement. Dave, by contrast, has never cheated on his wife. He finds other women attractive, and he could likely find a willing partner rather easily, but he simply couldn't bring himself to betray his wife's trust. The above vignettes illustrate the opposite extremes of a dimension of personality. Mary and Bill are at one end, Jane and Dave at the other. We call this personality dimension the H factor. The H stands for honesty, humility, and it's one of only 6 basic dimensions of personality. The H factor hadn't been recognized by psychologists until about the year 2000. Back then, most of them believed that people's personalities could be best summarized in terms of exactly 5 dimensions. Those 5 personality dimensions, known collectively as the Big Five, don't fully capture the H factor, and therefore they can only partly capture the differences between Mary and Jane, and between Bill and Dave. Research in the past decade has shown how the H factor matters in many aspects of people's lives. It underlies their approaches toward money, power, and sex. It governs their inclination to commit crimes or obey the law. It orients them towards certain attitudes about society, politics, and religion. It influences their choice of friends and spouse. Considering the importance of the H factor, you might wonder why it had gone missing for such a long time, and how psychologists finally did recognize it as one of the basic dimensions of personality.